It's Friday, August 31st. Wednesday saw some of India's best legal minds implore the Supreme Court to intercede in the case of the arrest of rights activists under the draconian Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Among those arrested were well-known civil liberties lawyers. And the apex court did, reminding all that dissent is the safety valve of democracy. But indiscriminate arrests of lawyers, activists speaking on behalf of the dispossessed happen regularly and largely go unreported. Not everybody can access the Supreme Court. Posts like this one, highlighting the arrest and prolonged detention in some cases of activists in the Sterlite matter or Kudangalam protest or the 8-lane highway protest in Tamil Nadu, or the case of Divya Bharti, a documentary filmmaker who was arrested last year after releasing her documentary on manual scavenging, put the focus on the role of subordinate judiciary or lower judiciary in ensuring human rights. Justice P.S. Narayana, former judge of the Andhra Pradesh High Court, in this paper on the responsibilities of the lower judiciary for the protection of human rights says, the constitutional remedies, though are important in safeguarding human rights, the role of subordinate criminal courts, in a way, would be far more important. The onerous role to be played by the subordinate judiciary, which will be nearer to the people, cannot be ignored. And if the magistrates and criminal courts exercise their powers or discharge their duties effectively in this realm, accordingly, many such grievances can be solved at that level. The rights of different types of prisoners, police officers, jail authorities, the legislation, and the rules governing them, many being observed more in breach than in compliance in actual practice, is an important area of human rights violation, where the role of subordinate judiciary is very crucial. It may be in relation to prison conditions, ill treatment, torture, and inhuman acts of jail authorities, police, and Article 21 violation in particular in relation to arrest, bail, compensatory jurisprudence in this arena also may be referred to. Now, the constitutional courts may exercise certain extraordinary powers, but he says in his opinion, a magistrate consciously discharging his or her duties may really do wonders in human rights protection. The Insurance Regulatory Authority of India has directed insurance firms to include mental illness in their medical policies. The Mental Healthcare Act 2017 has provisions which make it mandatory for all providers of insurance in India to have certain policies and provisions in place that also account for mental illnesses on par with physical illnesses. Mental healthcare insurance provides coverage for mental treatment and care expenses, which can often be crippling and the reason behind reduced access to such services. For example, a single consultation with a leading therapist can be around 1,500 to 2,500 in major cities. Consultations with psychiatrists can be even more expensive. Additional costs of medication also raises monthly expenditure on mental health care drastically. According to the World Health Organization, India has one of the largest populations with mental illnesses and are worst hit with depression. Acknowledging that India is staring at a mental health epidemic, President Ramnath Kovind had said,
the biggest obstacle that patients of mental and neurological problems face is stigma and denial.
Citing figures from the National Health Survey of 2016, Kovind said around 14% of people in the country require mental health interventions and about 2% suffer from severe mental disorders. You will also now be able to claim, as per the insurance regulator, health insurance for dental treatment, hormone replacement therapy, obesity treatment, and the treatment of sexually transmitted diseases. This isn't just a stamp. It is a statement of change in policy. After over 51 years of controlling birth rates, the People's Republic of China is all set to abolish all restrictions in 2020. It all began in 1949 after the Communist Revolution, where Chairman Mao encouraged the Chinese to multiply. Contraceptives were condemned and better Medicare boosted fertility rates with close to 6 births per woman. Soon, China was home to a quarter of the world's population. 2/3 of this population was under 35 and steered China out of mass poverty. But the overpopulated country's resources were soon strained. This gave birth to China's one-child policy in 1979, when Deng Xiaoping ruled that couples could legally have just one child. Consequent pregnancies had to be compulsorily aborted. If you didn't go, they came for you, one woman told the BBC. Though the policy applied only to urban married couples, part of the nation's Han ethnic majority, it prevented up to 400 million births. It also led to the prevalence of an illegal selective abortion industry, a skewed sex ratio of 117.7 boys for 100 girls, the trafficking of wives and China's hidden children, the kids born out of ratio, dumped or abandoned. The 4-to-1 policy produced one of the most educationally and economically privileged generations, but also the generation burned with 6 elders to take care of. It has also produced a nation of the elderly. According to the United Nations, more than a quarter of the Chinese population will be above 65 years of age by 2050. This means labor supply will fall by over 15%. To combat this, China revised their one-child policy to a two-child policy in 2016. Nadal's done it and lounged around between sets. Djokovic has done it many times to celebrate a win. Dimitrov's done it. Murray's done it. And there's a whole BuzzFeed article objectifying everybody else who's done it. But when a woman does it, it's apparently unsportsmanlike. What are we talking about? The act of removing or changing a shirt on court. Which is what earned world number 31 Alizé Cornet of France a code violation on day 2 of the US Open in New York. Cornet discovered she had put on her shirt backwards, and so before play resumed, she did this. It earned her a code violation from umpire Christian Rask and earned him a huge backlash on Twitter about double standards for male and female players. Reacting to the incident, the Women's Tennis Association called the umpire's ruling unfair, and later US Open organizers also said they regretted the code. This comes soon after Serena Williams was told her catsuit would be banned from the French Open. The French Tennis Federation president said players must, quote, respect the game and the place. And finally, the women's 4x400 meter relay team won the gold, taking the number of gold medals in athletics at the Asian Games to 7. Earlier, Jinson Johnson won the gold in the men's 1500 meters. And India brought home the silver in the men's 4x400 meter relay. Piyu Chitra won the bronze in the women's 1500 meters. Seema Punia also won the bronze in discus throw. But defending champions India was stunned by Malaysia in the men's hockey semi-finals. The women's hockey team played Japan in the finals today. And today is also the day we complete, you guessed it, 100 episodes. Yes, you've been with us all the way since the 16th of April for over 300 news stories. Thank you, and we'll see you on Monday.